Hello there, Tyrant here, and I just finished watching episode 9 of After the Rain. So, how do I explain this? So, let's start. This episode was reasonably split up into three pieces, and I really enjoyed that. I would thought it was going to be split into two, which would have made me feel nervous for what the events happened here. So, let's see here. So, Tachibana meets up with her friend Akira at the festival, like it ended in last week's episode, and they're having a fun time. They haven't been hanging out much together, and this is their first time, spending some time in a long time. And like we thought was gonna happen, things got really heated. Um, just kind of right after Tachibana kind of sees Kondo and his son at the festival, and they meet up, and her friends kind of clicks it, after being friends since they were little. You can note little things like this, and and yeah, the feelings start to come out of how they haven't been hanging out, they haven't been talking, and it's hard, mostly when any friendship starts to wane and distance starts to grow. So when this is very difficult, mostly when you've been such close friends for a very long time. So when this moment, I thought the moment was gonna feel more heavy. It's not that it didn't feel heavy. It's just I thought it was gonna feel a little bit more heavier, like a little bit deeper tone in the music or sound, the animation. It was, I would say, reasonable. Um, did it go a little too fast? Maybe, but it kind of gave what it gave, and it was all right. Um, but it gave us that impact. Secondly, we see Kondo visit with one of his old friends, Chihiro. I think that's his name. But one of his old friends, and and I thought it was actually a woman, and nope, it's an old friend who became a famous author, reasonably famous author, and yeah, it was fun to watch because from what felt like in this episode is going to be also a very negative episode, it turned out to be positive in his light. Hanging out with an old friend who he hasn't seen for 10 years. It's really interesting. I myself have had my fill with friendships that we haven't seen in a very long time. I'm really bad at that. That's kind of the way my work schedule works. And so it's hard for me to just spend some time with people, but I try to make it work. But sometimes I go months without seeing certain people, and but when we do, we catch up and things like that. So I understand that situation. But 10 years is a lot. I'm not gonna lie. If I go 10 years, something somewhere went wrong. Um, and moving forward, you get kind of them really um, what's the best way to put it? Um, like Tachibana is really feeling it now. She's had this fight. She's always somewhat upbeat, and but while at work, Kondo just noticed that she's off a little bit. So they have this moment, and it's really nice. Um, it plays out really well, and for the overall episode, it works because it's a moment that they've shared, and something Tachibana needed, and something Kondo was able to pass along with his meeting with his old friend. So it works as a whole for an episode. Um, and overall, it was a lovely scene. Now, what's gonna happen from here? I'm not sure, but I it felt right. It didn't feel as heavy as some of the other episodes, but I think that's better because then you would have felt the climax would have been here. I think it's better to smooth it out a little bit, but like I said, I did feel like it was going to be a lot more intensity and stuff like that, but I think that will go along with the coming episodes. Because when Akira found out um, about Tachibana's kind of attraction to Kondo, it was like, huh? And they kind of went there really fast, and then like, okay, like nothing was said. But that's how Tachibana's character is. And the moment where Kondo shared with his friend were very sweet, in the sense that it's just reminiscent of old friends and things like that, and catching up, and leading to the final part where Tachibana and Kondo are sharing that moment where he's trying to console her as an adult, but sharing some wisdom. It works out really well. So for the most part, did I feel let down? A little bit, but not in the way that it was a bad episode. In a way that I thought it was just gonna be more intense than I was expecting it. But I enjoyed it. So I'm gonna leave it at that. So thanks again for watching. Until next time.